Hello, and welcome to Words of Hope. Thank you for joining us in this space of faith, prayer, and reflection, created to bring our hearts closer to God and remind us that, even during the most difficult moments, we are never completely alone. If you arrive today carrying worries, sadness, or exhaustion, allow these words to help you find comfort and renew your hope. Take a deep breath, set aside everything troubling your heart for a few minutes, and join us in today's reflection. There are moments when we feel that life has broken something inside us. Perhaps it was an unexpected loss, a betrayal, an illness, a separation, or a dream that never came true. Maybe something happened that completely changed the way we imagined our future. Before that experience, we had plans, confidence, and a clear idea of what we wanted to build. Afterward, everything seemed to be divided into two parts: the person we were before and the person we tried to become after what happened. Some wounds cannot be seen, but they change the way we relate to the world. A disappointment can make us distrust everyone. A loss can extinguish the enthusiasm we once felt for life. A word spoken at the wrong moment can remain in our memory for years. Some experiences can even make us question our worth and wonder whether we will ever feel whole again. When something important breaks, we do not always know where to begin. We look at the fragments of our story and believe that rebuilding it is impossible. We remember how things used to be and wish we could return to that time. We want to recover the person we once were, feel the same sense of security again, and continue with the plans we had made. But some experiences change our lives irreversibly. We cannot return to the past or erase what happened. We cannot recover every lost year, prevent every loss, or make someone take back the pain they caused. However, the fact that we cannot go back does not mean there is no path forward. God can rebuild what life has broken. This does not mean that everything will return to exactly the way it was before. Some relationships should not continue. Some doors need to remain closed. Some losses cannot be reversed, and certain seasons will never return. God's restoration does not always mean giving us back the same life. Sometimes it means helping us build a new one. A life that carries the marks of what we have experienced without being controlled by them. A life in which the pain does not disappear from our memory, but no longer determines every step we take. We often believe that something restored should look as though it was never broken. But God does not need to hide our scars to demonstrate His power. Scars are not always signs of defeat. They can also be evidence that a wound began to close, that we endured something difficult, and that, with God's help, we found the strength to continue. Perhaps today you still find yourself among the remains of something you once loved. You may be trying to understand why it happened. Perhaps you are searching for an explanation that can ease the pain, but you cannot find one. You ask God why He allowed someone to walk away, a project to fail, or your family to face such a difficult situation. Not every question receives an immediate answer. Some may never be answered in the way we expect. But the absence of an explanation does not mean the absence of God. He can meet us in our confusion. He can stay beside us when we have no answers and support us as we take steps that still feel uncertain. Sometimes we believe that we must put our lives in order before approaching God. We think we need to control our tears, recover our faith, or find the right words to pray. But God does not ask you to come to Him already restored. You can approach Him with your doubts, your wounds, and your exhausted strength. You can bring Him the fragments you do not know how to put back together. He is not frightened by what is broken. God knows your entire story. He knows the part you share with others and the things you keep hidden. He knows which words continue to hurt you, which memories return during the night, and which fears you do not dare to express. You do not need to explain everything perfectly. Sometimes a prayer can be as simple as saying, God, I do not know how to rebuild my life, but I need your help. Show me what I should keep, what I need to leave behind, and what my next step should be. I no longer have the strength I once had, but I still want to trust you. A sincere prayer can become the first brick of a new season. This reminds us that God can write new chapters without denying the ones that came before. He does not need to pretend that nothing happened in order to give us a future. He can take a story marked by suffering and allow compassion, wisdom, and a deeper way of loving to grow from it. This can teach us something important. Allowing God to rebuild our lives does not mean remaining still and waiting for everything to change without our participation. Faith can also be expressed through practical actions. It may mean asking for help, seeking professional support, learning to establish boundaries, organizing our finances, caring for our health, or walking away from a situation that continues to harm us. God can work through an honest conversation, the advice of a wise person, medical treatment, or a community that stays beside us. Seeking help does not demonstrate a lack of faith. Sometimes it is the very answer God places before us. Perhaps you have been asking for emotional healing for a long time, but you continue to keep everything hidden. Maybe you need to allow someone trustworthy to know what you are going through. Not because that person can solve everything, but because some burdens become easier to carry when we no longer carry them alone. Rebuilding requires safe places. We need people with whom we can speak without feeling judged, places where we can rest, and moments when we do not have to pretend that everything is fine. We also need patience. When a house has suffered serious damage, painting the walls is not enough. The foundation must first be examined, anything unsafe must be removed, and the structures that will support what is new must be repaired. Something similar happens within us. Sometimes we want to feel better quickly, but God wants to work in deeper places. He may reveal false beliefs we have carried for years. The belief that we are not enough, that we must endure everything to deserve love, or that our worth depends on the approval of others. Rebuilding is not only about easing the pain. It also involves examining the foundation upon which we built our identity. If we base our entire worth on a relationship, the absence of that person may make us feel as though we are no one. If our whole identity depends on our work, losing it may make us believe that our life no longer has meaning. If our peace depends on controlling every circumstance, any change can destroy our sense of security. God can teach us to build on a stronger foundation. He can remind us that our worth does not disappear when someone chooses to leave, that we still possess dignity when a project fails, that we remain loved when we cannot meet everyone's expectations. Restoration becomes deeper when we stop asking only, "How can I recover what I lost?" and begin asking, "God, what do you want to build within me now?" Perhaps a more discerning version of you is beginning to emerge. Someone who no longer ignores the signs of a harmful relationship. Someone who knows how to say no, ask for help, and protect their heart. A person who is more compassionate because they understand pain, but also wiser because they have learned that loving someone does not mean allowing everything. You do not have to be grateful for the harm someone caused in order to recognize what you have learned. God can bring something good out of a painful experience without making what happened right. Betrayal remains betrayal. Injustice remains injustice. A loss does not stop hurting simply because you eventually develop strength. But evil does not have to decide the ending of your story. God can take what was meant to destroy you and prevent it from continuing to control your life. Perhaps you have spent a long time reacting to a wound. You make decisions out of fear of being abandoned. You avoid getting close to people because you do not want to be hurt again. You reject opportunities because a previous experience convinced you that you would fail once more. This is how the past can continue breaking the present. But God can help you interrupt that cycle, not by erasing your memory, but by teaching you to see what happened differently. Not by forcing you to trust blindly, but by helping you develop wisdom. Not by demanding that you forget, but by freeing you from the need to relive the pain every day. Forgiveness can also be part of rebuilding, but forgiveness must be understood correctly. Forgiving someone does not always mean reconciliation. It does not mean allowing that person back into your life or ignoring the consequences of their actions. Nor does it require you to remain close to someone who has shown no change. Forgiveness can mean refusing to surrender your peace to what happened. It is a process through which we place justice in God's hands and decide that the offense will no longer rule our hearts. This process may take time. It does not always happen after a single prayer. God understands your pace. He does not condemn you because a wound still hurts. He can accompany you through every stage until the memory no longer has the same power over you. There are also times when we need to forgive ourselves. Perhaps you blame yourself for not recognizing what was happening sooner. You believe you should have made a different decision, left that place, or understood someone's intentions. But you are judging the person you were then with the knowledge you have now. At that time, you acted with the tools, information, and strength you possessed. If you made mistakes, you can acknowledge them and learn from them. But condemning yourself indefinitely will not repair the past. It is important to take responsibility and repair what can be repaired. But after you have truly repented, you do not need to remain forever in a place of condemnation. God's grace does not say that our actions do not matter. It teaches us that our worst actions do not have to have the final word when there is genuine repentance. God can rebuild even the part of you that you helped to break. He can teach you to live differently. He can give you opportunities to act with greater honesty, humility, and love. We will not always be able to completely correct the consequences, but we can allow God to transform the person who will make the next decisions. Perhaps you are wondering how long your rebuilding will take. There is no single answer for everyone. Some wounds begin to heal quickly, while others require years. On some days, you will feel that you have made progress. On others, an unexpected memory may make you believe that you have returned to the beginning. But one difficult day does not erase all your progress. Rebuilding does not always happen in a straight line. There may be pauses, doubts, and moments of exhaustion. What matters is not confusing slowness with the absence of change. Perhaps a memory once had the power to ruin your entire week, and now it affects only one afternoon. Maybe you still feel afraid, but you no longer allow fear to make every decision for you. Tears may still come, but moments of peace are beginning to appear as well. That is also restoration. Do not minimize the quiet work God is doing within you. A heart is not rebuilt only during great spiritual moments. It is also rebuilt through everyday decisions. When you choose to rest, speak honestly, stop returning to a place that hurts you, or try again after a disappointment. Each step can become a new stone. You do not have to rebuild your entire life today. Ask yourself which part you can attend to now. Perhaps the first step is restoring your health. Maybe you need to organize your thoughts, strengthen your relationship with God, or reestablish a routine. It may be time to seek a new opportunity or simply learn to make it through one day without punishing yourself for what happened. God does not despise small beginnings. A prayer, a decision, a conversation, or a boundary may seem insufficient, but it can also be the beginning of a profound transformation. Do not compare your process with anyone else's. Someone may appear completely restored while you are still trying to stand, but you do not know their entire story, and your path does not need to resemble theirs. God works personally. He knows your story, your wounds, and the time you need. He does not expect you to become someone else. He wants to meet you exactly where you are and walk with you from that place. Perhaps what life broke was your ability to trust. God can help you recover it, beginning with trusting Him and then learning how to recognize safe people. Maybe it was your hope that was broken. God can reignite it little by little, not always through an immediate solution, but by giving you the strength to take the next step. Perhaps the image you had of yourself was shattered. God can remind you that you are far more than what happened to you. And if what was broken was your faith, you can bring those pieces to Him too. You do not need to pretend that you believe with the same confidence you once had. You can say, God, I want to trust you, but I am hurting. A wounded faith is still a faith that is searching. Sometimes returning to God with doubts requires more courage than approaching Him when everything is going well. He can receive your questions without rejecting you. He can support you while your trust begins to grow again. God's work of reconstruction will not always be visible to others. Your external life may still look the same, but something within you is changing. You are learning to breathe without the same fear, remember without becoming trapped, and look toward the future without feeling that everything is lost. A time will come when you look at your story and recognize that you are not the same person who began this process. Do not rush the work. Do not condemn yourself for needing time. Continue placing in God's hands what you do not know how to repair. Do your part and allow Him to show you, step by step, what can be raised again. Perhaps you will not recover everything you lost, but you can recover your peace. God can take your exhaustion, your questions, your tears, and the small amount of faith you still possess. He does not need you to have everything in order before He begins. He only needs a heart willing to take the next step with Him. So if you feel broken today, do not believe that you have lost your value. The fragments of your story are not useless in God's hands. He can give you wisdom where there was confusion, peace where there was fear, and a new direction where it seemed that no path remained. Rebuilding may be slow. It may look different from what you imagined and require difficult decisions, but you do not have to do it alone. God remains with you among the ruins. He is present when you lay the first brick and when you grow tired halfway through. He accompanies you on the days when you make progress, and on those when all you can do is rest. Your story does not end when something breaks. With God, even what appeared to be destroyed can become the beginning of a stronger, more intentional, and purpose-filled life. Because life can break many things, but God can still rebuild your heart, restore your hope, and teach you how to begin again. Thank you for staying with us until the end. We hope these words have brought a little peace, strength, and hope to your heart. Remember that even when you do not understand what is happening, God remains beside you and may be working in ways you cannot yet see. If this reflection helped you, share it with someone who also needs to hear it. You can leave your prayer request in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Words of Hope so that we can continue growing together in faith. May God bless your life, protect your family, and fill your heart with peace. We will meet again in the next video.